This month on the Key Figures podcast, we are joined by Nikos Manalis, country CFO at IKEA Belgium. What kind of leadership, in his opinion, is required in steering an organization in a constantly moving environment?
What kind of leadership is needed in steering an organization that is constantly in change, especially in the very moment that we are as we're recording this? There is a lot of change going on due to the pandemic. How do you do that from a hat as a CFO?
First of all, you need to go out of the denial box. You need to embrace the change. You need to embrace the transformation. You need to believe in it. And if you believe in it, you're getting yourself in it, and also you become a good communicator of it. You become a good ambassador of it. I think you have to create, first of all, clarity.
Yes.
Because behind everything, we are talking about people, we are talking about human beings, we are talking for their families. So we have to be also a lot sensitive with our decisions and what they will create. So people need clarity for what we are heading towards. Whatever this is might be good for the business only or in the middle. Usually it's in the middle for people in business happening this. But in the same moment, they need to understand the direction. So you need to create a clear path of direction. Then, because, you know, the plan is one thing, but reality proves another one. You have to be ready and to be agile to change your plans, to change the direction, and on this one, you need to have the people with you.
Sure.
So then comes the part of communication. When you have to communicate, what is the material that you have to communicate and what is the audience? Because it sounds simple, but it's super crucial to be able to communicate the right material on the right time to the right audience and to create the good cascade.
Yes.
I would say that also you need decisiveness. Many times you'll find yourself in front of dilemmas. And you know, it has to take only one choice, so you have to make your path. And people need to see that there is a leader that can take the gravity of the decision and the consequence, the pros and the cons, whatever, but at least there is a clear direction. And last but not least, if you allow me the last one, it's
please.
Compassion. Because people need to feel the freedom of what they're doing, that even if it has a small deviation from the plan or another result, they will not be criticized or be treated tough for their mistake. They need to have the freedom of making the mistake, especially in transformation periods.
Yeah. I like especially, obviously, everything you just said, but for me, what I feel when I talk to other CFOs is that creating this safe space for people to make mistakes is also a great way to foster an environment where growth is possible. How do you instill this even though there is no crisis? Because I can imagine that in a business as usual setting, you also need to create a culture where people feel safe to make a mistake. That in the moment that when there is a crisis or when there is, I would call it, an accelerated rate of change, that they also feel that I can also make a mistake as long as it is moving the business forward. How do you do that?
I will borrow a quotation from Peter Drucker, that he used to say that culture is eating strategy for breakfast. And it's reality, it happens, I have seen it myself. So coming back to your question, I think it's super crucial for the company or the organization that is making either a prepared transformation or a sudden transformation that, for example, COVID had brought us all in a surprise. You have to have a strong culture. You have a culture that people feel the embracement of the organization. You have to have a culture that it's also directional, shows the people where are the main tracks that the company believes as values. So the pillars for me are the values, and the culture is the total umbrella that the people feel that they can run under it and make whatever they can do for the business development, but also for their development. And if this has a mistake as well, it's one part of the business, because you will always make mistakes when you're active. You will not make mistakes when you're completely inactive.
That's true.
So you need to decide also how freedom you want to give to your people, because they will develop with the business together.
Indeed, absolutely right. What are the guiding principles, if I may put it this way, that you use in leadership in a fast-changing environment? Do you have any specific guiding principle that you go by?
I will come again back to the previous one, meaning that fast transformation, I can speak now with the previous experience that I was saying about COVID, because in IKEA we made transformations overnight to create our own setup from a cash and car environment to an omni-channel environment that we are still doing this today, but we had to do it overnight.
Okay.
If it would not be COVID, I would say that this might have taken us perhaps months or even a year. But now we did it overnight. And then we come to the cultural part that was really the strong bond between the people, between the organization and among the people, that helped to make the movement in a good way, and people understood, okay, it's for the good of everybody. Absolutely. So we need to move forward. So some transformation, I think you have to have the culture as a guidance, the agility, again the communication, and again the final direction, which is our own next step to success.
Yes.
Because even from the crisis, we know that there are potential, there are opportunities that you can take over and to create a success story.
Thanks for joining us for our podcast. Please share your comments or review on LinkedIn. To catch all the latest from Key Figures, you can follow our account at Key Figures Recruitment. Thanks again and see you next time.